So we are going to learn about law of cosines today. Now yesterday we learned law of sines, and law of sines worked for two types of triangles. And if you remember what that was, this is on your cheat sheet. And law of sines worked if you had a triangle where you knew an angle, side. Okay, so you might have known this was 50, this was 70, and this side was 10. That's where that works. Okay? Angle, side, angle was another spot where this worked. And this is 50, say this is 70, and say this side is 10. That's angle, side, angle. Okay? Now, for law of cosines that we're doing today and tomorrow and Thursday, this works whenever you are given a side, the immediate angle, say that you knew this was 30, and another side. Side, angle, side is when you can use law of cosines. Or tomorrow we'll learn about what happens if you're given three sides of a triangle, and then you can use law of cosines too. Law of cosines is much more cumbersome than sines, but if you're good at your calculator and you're good at typing it in, it's not too bad. Okay? So if we go back to this first page here, again, today what we're going to deal with is side, angle, side. So you're going to be given two sides and the included angle. Girls, I have to move you. Okay? So Brianna, I need you to go back in that corner. Side, side, side. When you are given three sides, you have to use law of cosines for your first step, and that part we will learn tomorrow. Okay? When you guys look at these formulas that we're going to be using today, you can just go sit down in that first row in the back. Side, angle, side, 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 side. These are the ones we're going to be using today when we're given side, angle, side. These are the ones that we're going to be using tomorrow when we're given side, side, side. Both of these look scarier than what law of sines is, but it's just a matter of getting used to what you have to do in your calculator. So today, remember, we're just using these, and these are on your cheat sheet. Okay? Then, as I said, today we're going to be doing side, angle, side. So I'll just make up an example here. Let's say that you are given that this is 10, this is 100 maybe, and this is 12. Okay, just say that's what you're given. So say this was A, B, C. So then across from this would be little c, across from this would be little b, across from this would be little a. Okay? The downfall of doing law of cosines is you have to go in a specific order. When we did law of sines yesterday, it did not matter what angle we found before the other angle. In this it does. You have to follow these rules right here. So the first thing you're going to do when you have law of cosines and you're doing side, angle, side is you're going to find the third angle. The third angle, the third side. And in this one, we're finding little a. So you'd go to your cheat sheet and you'd find little a, which is right here. And that is the formula that you're going to do, and you're going to find little a. Okay? Then, once you know this, you have two angles that are left. Law of sines, you could have done in any order. With law of cosines, you have to do the smallest of the two first. How do I know which one's smaller? The one that is across from the 12 or the ones that is across from the 10? 10, right? the smaller angle is going to be across from the smaller side. B is across from a 12, C is across from a 10, so we find C, angle C next. Now, you can use law of cosines to find angle C, but today we haven't really learned how to do that. So when we go to do that second step, we're going to use law of sines. After I show you tomorrow, and you go to do the second step, you could do either sines or law of cosines. And then you're going to know two of your angles. So to find the third, you're just going to add those together and subtract from 180. So you want to have these rules out as you're working today. So here's our first example. And again, what we are going to find today is, in this one, we need to find little c. We need to find the measure of angle A, and we need to find the measure of angle B. Okay? So, we need to find little c. That first step that you're going to do is use law of cosines to find that third side. And on your cheat sheet, you have these rules, and we're finding C. So this is our formula that we're going to use, okay? So, I'm going to try to copy that down, and hopefully I'll get it correct. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to do C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of C. Is that correct? Okay. Another thing that I can do over here is label across from angle A as little a, across from angle B as little b. Okay? So now what I want to do is go back here and find little c. So C squared. A is 8 squared. B is 13 squared. Minus 2 times A is 8, B is 13, and then it's cosine of our angle C, which is 64. Now, we can go to our calculators, and we can type that into our calculators exactly how it looks. You might want to do sine of 90 just to make sure it's 1, which mine's not, so I have to switch mine. Yours all should be. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to type in 8 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 8 times 13 times cosine 64, enter. And is that what you guys got? 141. Now, that is our C squared. This is where you had to be careful today. That C squared is 141 point whatever it was, okay? What we're gonna try to do, I'm gonna show you how to do this, where we're gonna try to get the most accurate answer. Now, do you guys know we have to take the square root? And some of you might know this already, but I haven't shown you this yet. Do you guys agree we have to take the square root of this? To get the most accurate answer, you would go second square root, and you'd pull that answer down, and how you can do that is go second and this negative key. And what that's doing is taking the square root of the whole number, not a rounded number, so your answers should all be the same. If I round to 2 places and you round to 1 and somebody rounds to a whole number, our answers can be off quite a bit. Did you guys get 11.91? Is that what you got? Okay. So let's go back here, and we're going to do 11.91 and then 11.91. Okay? Now, we have to follow those specific rules. And if we go back, what it says is you're gonna find the smallest of the two angles that are left using law of sines from yesterday. So I have to find angle A, which is across from an 8, or angle B, which is across from a 13. Which one am I gonna find? A, because 8 is less than 13. So here's what I'm gonna do. I know that I'm gonna find sine of A over little a, okay? I know I'm gonna use that. And then you're always going to have an angle and a side. I did have to write in little c here, but you're gonna have sine of c and little c, or whichever side you found there, that is the other angle and side that you're gonna use, okay? So you find the smaller of the two angles, you use the angle and its opposite side to find that. So now if I substitute in, I'm gonna go sine of A, which is what I'm looking for, over little a, which is 8, equals sine of C, which is sine of 64, over little c, which in this case we are rounding it to be 11.91. Okay? Now when I go to do this, I'm going to do cross products again. And when I multiply this, I am going to put my whole number, which in this case is a decimal, my number in front of my trig function. Okay? And then my number in front of my trig function. Okay. What I'm looking for is angle A. So I'm going to try to isolate the sine of A. And I do that. How do you think you'd get rid of that 11.91? Divide. So I'm going to do it by dividing by 11.91. Okay? And when I get my answer, you have to realize that what you're getting is sine of A. It's not angle A. Another thing we have to be careful of when we put this in our calculator, you have to hit enter before we divide by 11.91, okay? So you can do it with parentheses, but I hate using parentheses, so I just choose not to. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go 8 sine of 64, enter, and then divide by 11.91. I'll grab you the notes super quick. All right, so here's how you're gonna know that that is not your answer. Do you think you're gonna get an angle that's 0.6 degrees? No, okay? Sine of A here is like 0.60, and we usually keep these out several places, but what I do instead is I just keep the whole thing out, and that is my sine of A. How would I find the angle if that's my sine of A? Remember, Christian?
It's sine, inverse of sine.
Yes. So we're gonna go second sine, and we're gonna call this whole number down by going second answer. And did you guys get 70 or 37.14? Doesn't that look like a more normal angle than 0.6? Okay. So now measure of angle A is 37.14. Okay. And that I'm going to put up here. Now, for the third angle, the best way to do it is to not check your work and do another law of sines. because it doesn't always work out to do that. So the best way to find that last angle is just to add these two together and subtract from what? 180. The disadvantage of that is if you get this wrong and you add these and subtract from 180, you're gonna get both of those wrong. But there really isn't a way on Law of Sines that it works all the time to do an extra angle, because, and it goes into more theory as to why. So you kind of have to trust that answer, add these together, and subtract that from 180. So if you guys went 37.14 plus 64, and then 180 minus, and again you could go second that negative key. Did you guys get 78.86? Okay, so that goes right here. Okay, so we are going to do one more and then I'll give you your assignment. Okay, so if we look at this, this is my C. Across from A is little a, across from B is little b, and if I go back and look, I have a side angle side question, and what it tells me to do is use Law of Cosines to find that third side, okay? So Law of Cosines, I have to find little c, so remember on your cheat sheet, you have these formulas, and we have to find angle C again, which is this formula right here. It's not always angle C that you're looking for, that's just the way ours worked out. So the formula is C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of C. So little a is 7 squared. Little b is 10 squared minus 2 times 7 times 10 times cosine of c, which is 73. Now we're going to type that into our calculators. And by the way, guys, today, if you go to do something and you get an error message, that's going to mean you did something wrong, okay? So you have to go back and look at how you punch something in. So for this, we're gonna go 7 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 7 times 10 cosine 73. Now, does it make sense to you guys, if you were to logically think about this, would you have one side that's 7, one that's 10, and one that's 108? No. So that should tell you right there, like, oh, I forgot to do something. Isn't this number C squared? So what do we have to do?
Find the square root of.
We have to find the square root of that. So C squared is 108.06 or something like that. But we need 0.7. We need to take the square root of that, okay? And how we do that again is we can go second x squared and call that whole answer down by going second that negative key. And now we have 10.395 would round up to 40. So we have 10.4. And that is C. I need to come over here and put that here. And then I guess I never wrote down what we need in this one. We need little c, which is 10.4. We need the measure of angle A, and we need the measure of angle B. Now, if you guys turn something in that just has answers, I'm not gonna give you credit. You have to show me work today. So now now we have to ask ourselves, do we find angle A or angle B? A is across from 7, B is across from 10. Don't we find the smaller of the two? And 7 is less than 10, so we're gonna find A. So remember, now we use law of sines. So I'm going to go sine of A over little a. And then you always need to know an angle and its opposite side. And so in this case, we know sine of C and little c. So now I'm doing sine, angle A is what I'm looking for. Little a is 7. Sine of C is sine of 73. And little c is 10.4. Okay. So now I'm going to cross multiply and I get 10.4 sine of A equals 7 times sine of 73. Now remember, this is multiplied, so we have to divide by 10.4. And when we do this, it's going to give us sine of A. Sometimes you're going to get an error message today because you've done something wrong. When you type this in, it has to be less than 1 or you're going to get an error message. So if you do, go back and look over your work. And remember, you have to hit enter here. So we are going to go 7 sine 73, enter, divide by 10.4. That is not my angle. That is sine of my angle. So what do I do next? Second sine, second negative to bring that answer down. And we get 40.07 degrees. Oh, that's actually angle A. So, measure of angle A is 40.07 degrees. So that goes here, which is here. And now we have to find angle B. And to find that, you add these together and subtract from 180. So if I went 40.07 plus 73, that's 113.07. And if I subtracted that from 180, I get 66.93 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to, on Schoology as a worksheet, and it tells you which ones to do on the worksheet. So you are going to do the ones that are listed for day 1. So I'm sure they're going to be these 5, but if I show you Schoology, it should have day 1, day 2, day 3. So you're going to do just the ones for day 1 today, okay?